All right, everyone. Trump has released another segment of Agenda 47. This has to do with educational reform, and it's basically a six-point plan. Link in the description. There's a video. I mean, you can just watch that. I'm going off Charlie Kirk's reaction here, and I'm just going to read these segments and then sort of analyze them. Good idea, bad idea, idea, how workable they are, because, of course, a chief executive is not a dictator, unless the chief executive actually has the rest of the government pushing for them like Biden does, in which case, yeah, that could be a little bit of a problem. Here's the 6 points. Create a free federally funded online university called American Academy. This one is an interesting idea and could be useful. Of course, as a classically liberal small government lover, I don't like the federally funded concept because that means taxpayer funded. If it were a counterbalance, though, to the bloatedly overly expensive bullshit that is the public higher education system, it could be workable. It could help to slim that system down and make it more economically competitive by forcing it to be. A lot of different kinds of courses really can be done online. They don't require in-person training. For instance, mathematics. You don't need to go to the lab in order to do math. For English, reading, writing, things of that nature. There are exceptions like lab sciences. Okay, chemistry, you can't really, I mean, you can take the online course for the theory side of it, but as to actually demonstrating that you're capable of mixing chemical A, chemical B, understanding what you're doing, without, blowing yourself up or making, some sort of poisonous smoke, and hopefully you've got it under the hood if you do that, you have to do, unless you have your own home laboratory, that wouldn't work. For many of the courses, though, and for all of them, at least on the theoretical side, the basic concept, the basic premise could be helpful. It's just a matter of how it's designed. Number 2, ban wokeness and jihadism. Actually taking a leaf out of the book of Ron DeSantis on this one. I realize that Donald Trump came out against wokeness at the same time as everyone else, and so he's not a later tater there, but jihadism has been tacked on for a reason. I'm wondering how you can ban these things in the sense that it appears that many Republican politicians especially are suggesting they be banned. I support banning wokeness in official courses in schools because we shouldn't be teaching, at taxpayer expense, you shouldn't be teaching lies to the kids. Lies like white privilege and microaggressions and dumb shit like that. Nor should you be teaching them to hate Westerners or behead Jews or something like that. So jihadism. But as far as their prevalence among student bodies, etc., I don't think there's really anything you can do about it. If you need to refine effectively what you're saying here. Good idea. Again, it's the carry-through. Number 3, allow credentials to be used to apply for government and federal contractor jobs. Yeah, that's a good idea. Absolutely. Grant credit to students for past coursework. Yes, absolutely. Right now, you don't necessarily get credit for past coursework. You're effectively your transcript. Like say that you take time off from college because you had a kid or something like that, but you already studied for a couple of years. After a certain number of years, colleges don't necessarily give you any credit for the credits that you've already earned, even though you've paid for them. Like right now, I've been out of college long enough that my old transcripts mean nothing. I took 3 years of higher education. I was at UVM and at Castleton, then State College, now State University. But it doesn't matter. None of that would matter to the purposes of furthering my education. If I chose to get a degree at this point, I would have to start from square one. I'm not willing to do that because I already had enough learning. Now it's time for me to do the doing. So I agree with that. Tax large private university endowments like Harvard's to pay for the free school. Yeah, that would work, I guess. Those endowments are enormous. Again, I'm a low tax loving individual. I would say that the real problem for Harvard and other groups like that is you've thrown so much federal taxpayer money at them already. That is fundamentally the reason why these universities and schools are so expensive. Because that aid never trickles down to the students in the form of additional grants or anything like that. The vast majority of it is used to build the next soccer stadium or something like that. Now you can do that. I don't know how helpful it would be long run. Sue and fine institutions that fail to uphold free speech laws or encourage anti-Semitism. So again, very DeSantis-esque here. I wonder if his fans will give him credit for this or say, well, he's just ripping him off at this point. Probably the latter. I'm sure that there's already some posts about it on Twitter and elsewhere. Here's the thing. Suing an institution if it is preventing students from speaking freely is in direct contravention potentially to elements of the second part of this statement. That is that you have to allow students to say things that the ADL would label anti-Semitic because that's such a broad plethora of topics that they would have covered. Oh my God, you shared out a blog we didn't agree with. You have a bumper sticker of this creator that we've labeled as hateful or something like that. You're going to run up against free speech, ironically, in the free speech section of this. So I think that needs refining. If you just want to sue them if they failed, if they're a public institution, taxpayer money's involved, tax grants and stuff like that, and you sue them because they're abusing their students or even the teachers and not letting them speak freely, that I would support because, again, if your tax money is going towards something like that, free expression should reign. Lumping in the ban on anti-Semitism part in there, again, would possibly legally be contraventional to the higher purpose of that particular statement. So overall, it's largely a working educational reform schema. Largely, it's good. It ticks the right boxes. There is some tinkering, though, that needs to be done because a couple of the aspects of it aren't 100% clear, like how you would actually make it work. And the section specifically with regards to going after the endowments, again, while it's commonly echoed and it's helpful in the here and now, does it solve the long-term issue of the inflation of educational cost? Not necessarily. I suppose if you're using that to pay for, the online school or something and make that free for, theory courses, getting, lower degrees and stuff that doesn't require any field work or any physical training or something, it's a good idea. It's a more working, the competition with the normal college system would be the benefit there, but the going after the endowments to pay for it front end won't actually lower the cost of education in the meantime. It just means that it would be helpful over time potentially. But that's, again, partially in theory. So we'll see where it goes. Of course, we've got to elect Donald first before he can institute this reform. It'd be funny to see how the Democrats can justify not doing some of these things. But I'm sure that they'll find a way. That's about all. Peace out.